There's a moment that happens when you're trying to explain something that matters to you, and suddenly your throat tightens. Your voice cracks. The tears come whether you want them or not. And in that instant, you see it, the shift in the other person's face. The dismissal, the judgment, the slight step back. You've learned to read those reactions like a second language. But here's what nobody told you. While you've been apologizing for your tears, your brain has been doing something remarkable. When researchers showed highly sensitive people photos of emotional expressions, their brains lit up differently. More activity in the empathy centers. More activity in the parts that notice things and take action. You're not too sensitive. You're processing emotional information at a level most people will never reach. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to show you the 4 hidden capabilities you've been building every single time someone told you to stop crying. And at the very end of this video, I'm saving one tip for you. One simple trick that actually stops the tears in the moment. It sounds weird, but trust me, it works. So make sure you stay until the end. Maybe you were the kid who cried at birthday parties when the balloons popped. The teenager who couldn't get through a serious conversation without your voice breaking. The adult who tears up during work presentations, during arguments, at movies, at commercials, at a stranger being kind to a dog on the street. And people have given you all the names. Too sensitive, dramatic, crybaby, weak, manipulative, unprofessional. They've told you to toughen up, grow up, get a thicker skin. Your own parents might have sent you to your room until you could be happy. Friends might have made jokes. Partners might have used it against you, so you learned to swallow it, to excuse yourself to bathrooms, to cry only in your car, only in the shower, only where no one can see. You learned to hold your breath during conversations that matter, to say, just forget it, when you literally cannot continue speaking without breaking. You've spent years wondering what's wrong with you, why you can't just be normal. But the answer isn't what you think. Research into highly sensitive people, roughly 1 in 5 people who feel and process their surroundings more deeply than others, reveals something fascinating. Your tears aren't a malfunction. They're proof that your brain is processing emotional information with extraordinary depth and precision. And it gets better. Emotional tears contain higher concentrations of stress hormones. When you cry, you're literally releasing stress from your body. Crying activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calming you down after stress. Studies show that people who cry at emotional movies are in a better mood 90 minutes later than they were before the film. Your body knows what it's doing, even when others tell you it doesn't. But here's where it gets really interesting. People assume crying easily means you're fragile. But here's the truth. You're building resilience every single time you feel. Resilience isn't about not feeling things. It's about facing your emotions instead of running from them. You cry, you recover, you keep going. You've cried at work, at family dinners, in your car, and you're still here, still showing up. That's resilience. But it gets better. When you cry, you signal that something important is happening. Something that exceeds your ability to cope alone. And while this vulnerability has been used against you, it also creates something powerful. Genuine human connection. Studies show visible tears increase people's willingness to help. Your authenticity creates space for others to be authentic too. The people who stayed after seeing you cry, those are your people. Your tears are a filter for real connection. And here's the mechanism behind it. Most people warehouse their feelings until they explode. Snapping at a partner over dishes when they're really angry about work. Crying 3 weeks after something happened. You don't have that problem. Your tears are a release valve that works in real time. You're not falling apart. You're staying together by letting things flow through you instead of crystallizing inside you. It's not indulgence. It's maintenance. And this happens at incredible speed. Some people feel a feeling, then label it an hour later. You do it in real time. While others are still processing what happened at dinner, you already know. That comment hurt. That compliment mattered. That story touched you. This is emotional intelligence at full speed. You're getting crucial information, what drains you, what fills you up, who's safe, faster than most people ever will. All of these abilities come from the same source, a nervous system that feels early, deeply, and honestly. This also makes you an emotional seismograph who can detect lies and subtle shifts others miss, gives you rich emotional language to name exactly what you're feeling, and helps you remember what truly matters. But let's be honest about the cost. Let's be honest about what this sensitivity has cost you. Teachers criticized you in front of other students. Bosses made your job harder because everyone concentrated on your red eyes instead of your words. You converted anger into tears during arguments, hating that your body betrayed you. The worst part? Some of you stopped crying altogether. You crushed that part of yourself down so hard that now, even when you need to cry, the tears won't come. The feelings just pile up inside with nowhere to go. And here's the uncomfortable truth. We live in a culture that recognizes the humanity in tears while simultaneously punishing people who shed them. People want you to be authentic, just not like that. Vulnerable, but not too vulnerable. But here's what you actually need. You don't need a tougher skin. You don't need to grow up. Those suggestions come from people who learn to numb themselves, and they're trying to teach you their coping mechanism as if it's the only way. What you actually need: understand that tears are information. When they arrive, pause for 10 seconds and ask, what feeling is here? Sad, grateful, scared, proud. Keep it simple. Your tears are trying to tell you something. Permission to cry without it derailing everything. Try, give me 2 minutes. Take breaths. Return with one clear request. You can honor your tears and still move forward. Spaces where you can cry without being punished for it. At work, at home, in friendships, where your tears are met with, what do you need? Instead of, why are you being dramatic? Softer self-talk. You can stay accountable while staying humane with yourself. And trust the process. Crying might worsen your mood immediately, but research shows benefits set in within an hour. Give your tears time to work. Which brings me to what I need you to understand. You are 1 in 5 people who experiences the world with extraordinary depth. Your brain literally processes emotional information differently, more thoroughly, more completely than the majority. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness to overcome. It's a form of courage most people have forgotten how to access. It's proof that you haven't numbed yourself to life, that you're still present enough to feel its full weight and wonder. The world that taught you to be ashamed of crying is what's broken. Not you. You were never too sensitive, never too emotional, never too much. The world has just been asking you to be far too little. Maybe it's time to stop apologizing for feeling everything and start recognizing it for what it actually is. Evidence that you're deeply, courageously, beautifully alive. Now you understand why you cry and what makes you powerful. But remember, I promised you something at the beginning. That one tip. The one that actually stops the tears in the moment. It's called the tongue trick. Simply press your tongue firmly against the roof of your mouth and just hold it there. That's it. Even though there's a scientific explanation behind the tongue trick, in my experience, pressing my tongue to the roof of my mouth doesn't always stop the tears. However, some people do find success with it. If I want to prevent myself from crying at a specific moment, I'll try swallowing, drinking some water if it's handy, or pinching the bridge of my nose, but not too hard. I might also tilt my head back, blink, gently press under my eyes with the side of my forefinger, and focus on my breathing. Of course, you can't do all these things at once. You'll have to see what works for you. I wouldn't recommend holding in your tears too often, though. You need to release your emotions, not repress them. So, the next time the tears start coming, don't fight them. Don't hate yourself for it. Just give your brain something else to hold on to, and breathe. And that's it for today. If this video meant something to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps the algorithm reach more people who might need to see this today. Thank you for watching.